Spider-Man does some stuff, kinda sucks, man. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I'm going to be pooping on Spider-Man's new uniforms. Now, I know some of you are going to immediately rush to Spidey's defense, to Peter Parker and Tom Holland's defense. Cynicalex, how could you? You wouldn't even tier 3 Spider-Man. And you want to talk shit? Yes, but fear not. I'm here to save, well, at least try to save Spider-Man, because it's pretty tragic what they've done to our boy. And I think Uncle Ben is rolling in his grave in the sky, seeing what the hell is going on here. So we're going to go through and we're going to try to pick apart all the problems with Spider-Man's new uniforms, because both uniforms have a bevy of problems. And then we're going to try to make suggestions, I guess, for how Netmarble can fix them. Now, before we get started, I think a lot of you guys are going to be hitting the panic button. Cynicalex, should I have not purchased one of these uniforms? What am I doing? Do I need to get a refund, etc.? No, I'm not saying that these uniforms are straight up bad. They are both upgrades over Infinity War. He has been reworked, and he is better than Infinity War. However, the amount of increase from Infinity War to Endgame, or sorry, from Infinity War to Far From Home, may be very, very small for some of you. It may be very hard to notice, especially if you don't have him tier 3. I do hear that his stealth suit tier 3 skill is good. I can't personally verify that, but his skills 1 to 5, while they may have some good effects and they have some cool stats and animations, there's a lot of problems. But let's start with a problem that actually doesn't even manifest itself until you take a closer look, and that is the collection, the uniform collection bonus. Now, I don't think this is a huge deal, because I don't think a lot of you are rushing to mythic both Mysterio's uniform and Spider-Man's uniform, but I think Netmarble needs to rethink how they apply these uniform collection bonuses, because it doesn't really make sense that you have a synergy uniform that will upgrade at the same level and at the same pace as another uniform, even if you don't own it, but only one of those two uniforms actually counts towards the Far From Home bonus. So I think what Netmarble should have done here is they should have added a 5th character to this group, and it should have been the other Spider-Man, or they maybe should have divided him in half, like Boss Logic does with a lot of his posters, and the other half of Spider-Man would be the stealth suit. And then, regardless of which one you have, whether you have the stealth suit mythic or the Far From Home suit mythic, you would have this added to the uniform collection. As it stands now, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, if you only buy the stealth suit and you only mythic the stealth suit, you don't get the uniform collection bonus, which is really dumb, because if it's all said and done and the stealth suit is better than this suit, you're being punished by not getting it, because maybe you were going to mythic Mysterio's uniform because you don't have to buy 2, you only have to buy 1, but now you have to shell out another 630 crystals just to get 375 crystals over the next 2 weeks. And this is one of the easiest bonuses to get, and I think a lot of free-to-play players or low-spending players could nab those extra 375 crystals without spending any crystals, other than the crystals they would have spent on the uniforms. So they're going to have to purchase possibly the worst of the 2 uniforms in order to get the collection bonus, which doesn't make any sense. That's the first problem with Spider-Man's uniforms. The second problem is the all defense down, and this is something that I really don't understand at all. I don't understand what's going on. Why does Netmarble continue to do this update after update, introducing characters that have all defense down that does not apply to World Boss? Where the fuck are we supposed to use these bonuses? Where are we supposed to use these all defense downs? Story mode? Like, get out of town, Netmarble. You guys know where we play these characters. You know what game modes we use them in. Apparently, this all defense down doesn't even work in timeline battle. I mean, not to mention you have debuff removal and stuff like that. But I mean, this is completely and utterly useless, and it's ridiculous and it's silly that you would do this at all. And then the fact that some of them apply and some of them don't is even more absurd. Someone literally is going in and coding these things differently. This shit needs to stop, because on this uniform, on this ability, the all defense down doesn't work against World Boss. On this uniform, on his 6th skill, it does work against World Boss. So what the hell gives? It doesn't make any sense. but there's more going on here. There is more that's wrong with the two uniforms. So in order to show you guys what's wrong with them, we're going to go into some gameplay. Sadly, Spider-Man is not very hot. His damage is not very good, despite, you know, these upgrades apparently. We're going to go into a Corvus Glaive stage 45. We're going to be using Nick Fury's leadership on top of... Well, I guess now we're not going to use Nick Fury because he's disappeared from the list. Okay, we're going to use Nick Fury's leadership on top of Shuri, so we have double bonus here. And then we're going to use 5 Ignore Dodge Strikers because we have a CTP of Destruction, so we don't have any Ignore Dodge. The nice thing is you can also use White Fox with Spider-Man, but as you'll realize, his damage is anemic. His damage is really sad, so I don't really know what you're going to do. Now, keep in mind, this is not a Tier 3 Spider-Man, but this is a Stage 45 of Corvus. This is not a very high stage, guys. And he's got double bonus. He's got double bonus there. I didn't proc on the right skill there, but you'll see that the damage is just not that impressive. And with the new cooldown on his 5th skill, you can't proc on his 5th skill every single time. So you're going to have to alternate between proccing on 5 and proccing on 4. Now this seems to be pretty decent. I don't know what the hell's going on. This seems to be pretty decent in terms of damage for a stage 45 with a double, you know, support bonus strikers. But then take a look at his 5th skill for me. The animation just takes so long, and the damage, like, there's so many little hits. And what I mean by little hits is that there's only a couple of hits. There's not that many hits. So the problem here is that it's impossible to trigger the proc. Look at this. It's not even hitting properly, and it basically just boosted one of the attacks because there are so few hits in between. On top of that, as you'll see when we go into PvP, he actually gets interrupted mid 5th skill. So on top of it being difficult to trigger the actual proc, we just went through an entire 5th skill and there was no proc triggered. Now we're going to try to trigger on his 4th skill. We got it. But because of this, it makes it exceedingly difficult to push high stages with Spider-Man, because you're not going to be able to trigger his proc. Now, some people are going to immediately say, oh, we gotta use a rage proc. We got to do something like that. No, that's not the answer. The character needs to be built better. It's not the problem of the gamer. It's not our problem to fix all of these broken characters by giving them specific CTPs. That's not how it's supposed to work. Okay, they did not, like, what's the point of, you know, think about it this way. What is the point of changing Spider-Man's 5th skill if you're not going to make it do more damage? And if the damage is so spread out over, like, you know, it's 40 or 50 hits, but if it takes 5 seconds, it's not that many hits. On top of the fact that you can't trigger the proc on his 5th skill consistently, you have to do it like Dr. Doom once every other rotation. You would expect the damage to be a lot better, wouldn't you? Yes, you would, but in fact, it's not much better. And so, as you can see, on top of his survivability really not being that much better, they haven't even been able to make his damage that much better to compensate for that fact and actually die. Now, we're getting this done in about 30 seconds, so you might be saying to yourself, Cynicalex, this is not that bad. Stage 55, Tier 2 Spider-Man, you know, with 2 supports, with a mythic uniform. Okay, I'm ranked 37,000. Let's take a look at his build really quickly. So we've got a mythic uniform here. We've got all of the bonuses, either rare or heroic. We've got a CTP of Destruction. We've got a Stage 7 Power of Angry Hulk, Type 3 Enhancement, Level 6 or Level 3 skills, and we've got 5 and 4-star Uru. Okay, and level 25 gears. Now let's take another Spider. Okay, we're going to take Spider-Man 2099. He has a higher rank because he's not Tier 3-able. He's still level 60 rather than being level 70, gear 25. His gears are obviously 20. He's got mostly 5-star Uru as well, level 3 and level 6 skills. He's got a Stage 6 Overdrive. He's got obviously 0 type enhancement. He's got a regular damage proc, a crit rate 200 proc, not a CTP, and he's got a heroic uniform with normal and rare bonuses. So there's no doubt in my mind that anyone, you know, with any shred of logic in this game would say Spider-Man 2099 is going to deal less damage than regular Spider-Man. Of course, why not? So you've got here 21,000 physical attack. You go over to Spider-Man, and you will see if we use his leadership here. Actually, you know what? Don't even use his leadership. We go over to Spider-Man, and at 21,000 attack is 24,500 attack. So he's rocking almost 4,000, 3,500 more physical attack than Spider-Man 2099. He's level 70 rather than being level 60. and you know he's got a CTP. So now let's go and take Spider-Man 29 in with the exact same team and see. And while it's not really that important to compare characters when you're trying to look at uniforms in terms of how much better they get, how much better they make a character, it is really important when these uniforms come out at the same time. You know, if Spider-Man 2099 had gotten this uniform a long time ago, or, you know, even a couple of updates ago, you could understand why they're different and why one perhaps seems better and one perhaps seems worse. But these two updates were made at the same time, which begs the question, why was one update, or why was one uniform given so much love and the other one wasn't? That literally took 2 skills. I did the 5th skill, I got snared, and then I did the 5th skill and the 4th skill. 3 skills to do all that damage. That was 10 seconds faster than Spider-Man, and I wasn't even using Spider-Man 2099's 3rd skill, which, by the way, it does apply the all defense down. I actually just died there because I got caught in the middle of his animation, but the 3rd skill on Spider-Man 2099, on the other hand, it does apply all defense down, whereas Spider-Man's doesn't, whether he's using his stealth suit tier 2 or he's using his far from home uniform tier 2, even though it says that he has all defense down. So this is really bizarre, and it's really strange how a character that's not even in the movie, Spider-Man 2099, is getting such a crazy bonus for his uniform. Wow, I got snared there. We're gonna have to try this one again because the game is fucking with me. But a character that's not even in Far From Home gets a better treatment in their uniform bonus and in their buffs and their changes than a character like Spider-Man. I have no doubt that the developers spent a lot of time visually in terms of how the animations look. Spider-Man's new animations are beautiful, but it's a bunch of flash and zero substance. So now we're going to use his skills with his all defense down, and as you can see, the damage is absolutely disgusting. We did get snared here, but we're going to be able to, well, we procced on 3, but it doesn't really matter because you can see the damage is even faster. That was even faster than that. Then the first time around, that was 15 seconds, and we got almost down to 4 bars. So basically what I'm trying to show you and tell you is that my Spider-Man 2099 with a worse build is doing double, possibly triple the damage that Spider-Man is doing. And this does not just apply to this uniform. It applies to both of his uniforms. We're going to go ahead and go back into some world boss action. Let's try Thanos this time. Maybe something's wrong with Spider-Man against Corvus, so we're going to try Thanos. We'll just do a stage 15. Shouldn't be too hard at all for our web slinger here. He should be able to, he should be able to compete on this stage, at least do some damage, or where is he? At least do some damage, and he should be pretty impressive. He's got a CTP of destruction. He's got a new mythic uniform. He's got 2 supports. Yeah, this is gonna work out really fine. Let's use anti-venom for the heals, and let's see how great Spider-Man is. He's got weird iframes that are interruptible in PvP, as you will see. His damage is low, as you will see, and his skill effects don't matter. They don't matter in PvP because people have debuff immunity, and they don't matter in PvE because for some reason they decided that they shouldn't apply in PvE. So, it doesn't really make any sense. I don't really understand why they put so much effort into the skills in terms of their animation, but then they don't put any effort into the skills in terms of the damage output. And it's clear that they can do that because then you have a character like Spider-Man 2099 where it's just so obvious that the character does way more damage. They only changed 2 of his skills, but somehow they were able to get them both right. But they can't do that for Spider-Man. God forbid that they made Spider-Man strong at all. But it's his movie, and it makes no sense. This barely does 1 bar of damage. And we're trying to proc every single time on his 5th skill. And there we go. We get him down to about 15 bars. Let's see here. Oh, he iframed. Okay. Let's do 4, cancel 5. And okay, so it took us about a minute to get him down to 15 bars. Again, we're not going to use his all defense down skill, but just tell me what you think is going to happen when I swap this over for Spider-Man 2099. And sure, some people are going to say, you know what, Cynicalex, Spider-Man 2099 is paywall, so that's why. But that shouldn't be the case. It's wrong to do that, especially considering that it's Spider-Man's movie. On top of that, you might say, well, Cynicalex, Spider-Man 2099 is better for this, but maybe Spider-Man is better for PvP. Well, you and I both know that that's also extremely wrong. Spider-Man 2099 is way better for PvP than Spider-Man, even Tier 2 versus Tier 3 Spider-Man. because of the Lila AI and because of this crazy new iframe 5th skill that he was given. So as you can see, I mean, you can probably guess if you can do the math, there's no way this is going to be taking me a whole minute. This took me under 30 seconds. There we go. And almost done? Not quite. There we go. 32 seconds. Half the time. I do not think that this is justice for Spider-Man. Whether I've shown that concisely and, you know, without beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's really up to you to decide. But you could always just get the uniform for yourself and try it out. My guess is you're not going to be that satisfied. This is kind of an Iron Man situation. It may not be quite as bad as Iron Man, but he's got his own issues with his 3rd skill not activating. But I did want to bring this up to you guys because I'm pretty sure, I'm very confident, at least in PvE, he is hardly better. And with someone like Spider-Man 2099 right there, it really pains me to say that Spider-Man is being overshadowed by another version of himself from the future who's not even level 70 yet. I shed, you know, I shed a tear to think how much stronger Spider-Man 29 is going to be when I can get him to level 70 gear 25 and I can mythic his uniform and give him a CTP. He's going to shit all over Spider-Man in PvE. And, you know, I'll make a video on it later, but you can probably guess who also rocks PvP. This guy right here. So let me know what you guys think of the Spider-Man Far From Home uniforms. Let me know what you think should be done about them. Let me know what you think about my analysis. Subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want to support me. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you later today. Take care.